What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We're going to wrap up our post-spring power rankings here with the ACC, and we'll start at the top. This is the top tier. These are the front runners, in my opinion, to get to the ACC championship: Florida State, Clemson, Louisville, and Miami. So again, I think these teams have the best shot. You look at Florida State, really no concerns except the wide receiver position. That is where I'm concerned. What is the passing game going to look like? DJ Uiagalelei has not been great throughout his career, and if you don't get some help at that wide receiver position, that could really hurt them. But everywhere else, really strong, and if they step up there, they could be right there at the top of the ACC again. And then we've got Clemson, kind of a similar team, really no weaknesses. I think they're just a little bit behind Florida State, maybe on the offensive line and the secondary. I said this before the other day. Year two in this Garrett Riley offense, do they make a big jump forward? If they do, watch out for Clemson. I think they could be a pretty dangerous team. You've got Louisville just behind them. Passing game, what's that going to look like with Tyler Shuck? We shall see. Linebacker position a concern, but everywhere else they're really strong. I like the secondary, like the offensive and defensive lines. Really like their running back group. This is a team that I think will be right there in the mix again. And then behind them, Miami. Miami has a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent, especially at the skill position. They're good at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Good linebacker group. You look at Cam Ward coming in at quarterback. If he can play like a Heisman Trophy candidate, this team could be very, very dangerous. I am concerned about the secondary. That, I think, is going to be a weakness for this team. And if they go up against a really good passing team, that could hurt them. But I think these four teams all have a chance to win the ACC. Then you go to your dark horses: SMU, NC State, Virginia Tech, and North Carolina. Just a little bit behind. I think SMU actually, talent-wise, is not that far behind those first four teams. I know everybody says, well, they played at the Group of 5 level. Well, a lot of the players on their roster are transfers from the Power 5 level. They have a loaded running back room. The offensive line, defensive line, both really good. Wide receiver group, is it the elite? Maybe not. Maybe they could be a little bit better there. But, yeah, this is going to be a good SMU team, and I think they're going to fit in really well in the ACC. I don't see them struggling much at all. I think NC State comes behind them. Just one of the more consistent programs in the ACC, and really all of college football. Grayson McCall coming in at quarterback. Really excited to see what he can do in this offense. They've got talent around him. This should be a pretty good group on offense. Now, the defense, I think, is going to be a little bit worse than what we've seen from previous NC State teams, but they do such a good job of developing players. I think they'll have a new group ready to go on that defensive side of the ball. Virginia Tech, I think the strength for them is going to be the defense. They have a ton of production coming back, especially on that side of the ball. A lot of people think Virginia Tech could be a team that wins the ACC. I'm not ready to go that far. I think this team will be good, and I think they're moving in the right direction. But yeah, you do bring a lot back, but this was not an elite team or anything last year. They were, they were pretty good. They were okay. I think they were 6-6 if I remember correctly. But yeah, they do have a lot of experience coming back. They have players that should be even better developing this offseason. Can the offense, is it going to be good enough? I'm concerned about the offensive line. I think that's going to be a weakness for this team, and I think the defense will keep them in a lot of games. But again, I just don't quite put them on the level with those top four teams. I think they're a little bit behind. Again, they're dark horses. All these teams could make a run, but I think those top four teams are more than likely going to be the teams that get to the ACC championship. Two of those four teams. Then North Carolina. Offensively, they should be really good again. Max Johnson, does he step in and get that quarterback? I haven't heard maybe about that. I don't know if they've announced a starter yet. I just assume because he transferred in, he probably wins that job. He's a pretty good player. They've got one of the best running backs in the country. Wide receiver group, pretty good. But I think offensively, they're going to be good. Defensively, I think the defensive line will be strong. But other than that, maybe not great, especially in the secondary. But yeah, North Carolina, another team to watch. I think they're a dark horse. All right, let's go to our next group of teams. We got Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Cal, and Boston College. These are teams that I think should make it to a bowl game, or at least be right there on the edge of making it to a bowl game. Maybe more so with Georgia Tech and Syracuse. Although you have to look at schedules, and we're ranking these teams based on how good we think they are, not necessarily what their record's going to look like at the end of the season. But yeah, Georgia Tech right there at number 9. They seem to be going in the right direction. Offensively, I think they're going to be pretty good. I think they'll be able to run the football. Defensively, there are some concerns. Linebacker, cornerback, will they be good enough there? We'll see. Syracuse comes in behind them. Of course, a lot of hype with a new coach, a new quarterback. We'll see what they look like. Offensive line, a bit of a concern. It's kind of like with Virginia Tech. That is an area that does worry me. But yeah, Syracuse should be pretty good. I don't think they're quite in that next group like some people maybe have them, but I think they'll be pretty good. And then behind them, we've got California at number 11. You look at their Jaden Ott at running back, one of the best running backs in the country. Another team where the offensive line does worry me a little bit, and really their entire front seven on defense is a bit of a concern. But they've got a good coach. We'll see what they can do with some of these new players. That's the thing. It's so hard to predict. The players that haven't really played and they've been developing, when they get their opportunity, how good are they going to be? And that's usually when you have to kind of look at coaching. But you never know. You never know what you're going to get from those types of players. And then Boston College at number 12, a team that, again, I think will fight to get to a bowl game. You look at their offense, they should be decent. Defensively, maybe they struggle a little bit there. I think the offense will be better than the defense this year. But, yeah, they could possibly get to a bowl game, and I think they'll be very close if they don't make it. And then we go to 13 through 17, the final teams here: Virginia, Duke, Wake Forest, Stanford, and Pittsburgh. Starting with Virginia, really all these teams are about the same. There's really not a lot to say. I think they're all teams that are just not going to be very good. I don't know if any of these teams is really great at any one position. You've got some teams that have some serious concerns. With Duke, you've got the offensive line. That's a big concern. You've got with Wake Forest and Pittsburgh, both of those cornerback positions, secondary, a big concern. Stanford, will they be able to run the football? Offensively, just overall, how will they be? I mean, you've definitely got some concerns here with all 5 of these teams. And this is just how I rank them based off of how good I think they'll be. I think Virginia has the most potential out of these 5 teams. You look at Duke, Malik Murphy coming in there, and Manny Diaz stepping in as head coach. A lot of unknowns there. Wake Forest is a team that talent-wise, they've got some pretty good players scattered throughout their roster, but just not consistently, not a lot of depth on the roster. Dave Clawson's a great coach, but you finally kind of saw the transfer portal catching up to him, because they seem to lose a lot of their better players, and they don't recruit at a very high level. So I think Wake Forest is going to struggle. And then Stanford again, Pittsburgh, 2 teams I think probably are going to be at the bottom of the ACC. So for these teams, if any of them, if they're able to get to a bowl game, I think that's a really successful season. But I think it'll be very tough for all 5 teams. So those are my ACC post-spring power rankings. We'd love to get your thoughts. How would you rank the teams? Let me know down in the comments below.